Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, April 1st, 2024. Well, I saw a thing on social media the other day that they were tired of unexpected things happening and drama and all of that, so they were going to ignore it being the 1st of April and call it March 32nd today. So I thought, well, that seems reasonable. Anyway, I hope you've all had a good week last week and a good weekend. It's been really cold here, even though the sun was out yesterday. It was pretty cold. We finally got our water back on. It was probably off maybe, I don't know, 49 hours maybe. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to really think about that. It went off about between 5:30 and 6, I think, on Wednesday, and then it didn't come on till 7:30 on Friday. But there were a lot of roots down at the bottom there where the pipe comes into the property, and my husband had to use actually he had to use a small garden trowel and sort of lay down on the ground above and hang down inside the hole. And he had to use a garden trowel and a screwdriver to try to, get the dirt loose around the roots so that he could identify them, first of all, as roots, to be sure, before he went and cut them, that it wasn't an errant wire that was down there or other piping that he didn't want to cause any additional problems that would impact everybody else on our water system. So, but he knows a lot about it. He was a system operator there for, I don't know, 34, 35 years on his own. And then for 5 years, he worked on it after we first got here, the first 5 years we were here. So he knows an awful lot about him. Well, he knows everything about the system. So we went and got the parts and stuff like that. And the guy that took over for him, so he works. And so he was there, for a little while in the evening. But we were without water all that time. So that was fun. Anyhow, I'm waiting for the final rune to drop into my hand here. It's just taking a little bit. I don't know why. There we go. All right. Well, we're going to start today off with Alyi's. That's the 15th rune of the Elder Futhark. It means the elk or the elk sedge. If you look, it kind of looks like elk antlers here. I view this as air, fire, and water up at the top, and then earth on the bottom. So it's drawing those manifesting energies into physical reality. And where you're going to draw that from, of course, is from spirit or higher awareness or the collective consciousness, however you want to see this. But this is literally the bridge between the astral and physical realm. And again, it can be about protection. It can be about higher consciousness or divinity. But basically, when you draw, it also reminds me of when you raise your arms in supplication to the goddess, or when you're going to draw down moon energies on the full moon. It's drawing in that higher awareness into your perceptions and having that overshadow the reaction of the ego, so that you see things a little more clearly, a little less judgmentally, more in an observational type of a way. With being the 15th rune of the Elder Futhark, you're looking at a 6 numerology. So assistance, guidance, and where you're getting that from spirit. Also shared path, empathy, compassion would also be with the 6. Let's go ahead though and take I'm going to drink some tea here. Still too hot. Anyway, let's throw down the 4 elemental runes for the Geomancy rune here. I'll put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. There's earth. There would be air. So it looks like we have a missio. Let me find that here in the little bowl. There's its complement, acquisitio. There it is. With a missio and acquisitio, you're looking in terms of gain and loss. And it doesn't have to have a financial aspect to it. I mean, it can, but it could be anything you've gained or anything you've lost. So, and in a weird kind of way, if you're just looking at it as a positive or a negative, an increase or a decrease, acquisitio would mean maybe gaining truth, for example, or a missio could mean losing the deception, you see. So a decrease of deception, an increase of truth. It could be something like that, that type of dichotomy. But for today, anyway, we have a missio. And again, it means loss or the decrease of something. So maybe the loss of ego, the decrease of ego. With such a powerful rune as Alyes, maybe we're looking at today being able to see things with a level of clarity that, is non-reactive, that is just, you just look at it and go, oh, okay, I see what's happening over there. That's fine. And in fact, you don't even say that's fine. You just acknowledge it and you move on. It's especially if there's something emotional happening, it could be that there's a decrease of that. For example, if you're upset about something, it could be a decrease in that. If there's conflict between you and somebody else, there could be a decrease of that. So again, it's really just an energetic movement with Emissio and Acquisitio. More so than, say, Fortuna Minor and Major, which really does probably indicate some kind of financial or material security or the way you go about it or something, because Fortuna Minor is just progressive success. So that's a success oriented. It could have something to do with finances. But then again, so could this. It's just the energetic structure of decrease and increase with the two of them. So, but I think probably let's start out today thinking in terms of the loss of ego, transmuting ego into spirit, in other words. So the decrease of the egoic reaction and an increase of higher awareness that's guiding your reactions today. So I've already done some shuffling here. I like to do that to get ready for the reading. And just to make sure that everything's, really well shuffled from the last time we met, which of course we meet on Mondays and Thursdays for this. I think that I was doing it every day, 4 days a week, I think. But, it doesn't give people time to really think about it. And sometimes what comes up in a reading, you may not feel like it resonates just yet, but then maybe the following day or later on that day or the next couple of days it does. So anyway, cut the deck here. Okay. Well, we have one from the Suit of Wands, a card from the Suit of Pentacles. So Wands would be the fire element and expression of will. Pentacles, of course, again, is home, money, foundation, physical reality, education, tradition, loyalty, all that. But we also have the Fool, which is from the Major Arcana. Now, in a sense, the card from Pentacles is the Ace, and so aces are almost in a class by themselves because they are said to contain all of the elements of the suit that they're governing. So there's a power there, and it's always expressed by a hand reaching out from the cloud, sort of forcefully. You see the emanations of spirit coming off the hand. His hand is holding a very large coin in this case. We'll talk about that in a little bit because I think I'm going to keep that at the end. And then the other suit, we have the Seven of Wands. So again, a number of observation, basically, and bringing things to balance and letting things settle out and to where you see what's going on. And then the Fool as card 0, you're looking at eternity with the 0. And so the Fool starts its life. You can think of this part here as being in spirit, and then he or she is ready to take the leap into form. The Fool is an androgynous figure. I just always refer to him as he. But he could end up being a girl when he takes that leap into physical reality. So we don't know that. So just keep that in mind, just for argument's sake here. But we see expressions of the turning of the wheel right here. There's 8. It's a round circle with 8 sections in it. And so it's like the turning of the wheel begins, of the turning of the wheel of life essentially begins here with him. He's got his face, the fool has its face turned toward heaven. You see the vitality of the sun here being expressed in the sky as a yellow image. Instead of blue sky, we see yellow, so that's always a fiery type of a thing. You'll sometimes see that in the suit of wands, with the background not being blue in terms of the sky, but yellow or golden or something. And what you see here is you see some mountains with mountain peaks. You see the dog is at his side here. And he has he's holding a white lily in his left hand for purity. Everything, all the things that he brings with him, all of the memories, all of the awareness that he brings with him to help get him started and to help him along his way is held in the little knapsack right there. Let's see if anything else I can describe about it. I don't think so. I think that's probably enough. But the Fool is really about undeveloped potential. It's about birth, taking a leap of faith, new ideas, truth, having no expectations, a level of innocence about him. But again, if you brought it down to one concept, it's undeveloped potential. Once he takes that leap, anything is possible. And so he's making the decision to do that. And so that's, I think, going to also be part of the Ace of Pentacles here when we get there. But here we're making some decisions here from a higher perspective. And here with the Seven of Wands, again, Wands is the fire element or an expression of will. You see the man standing above here on just a little hill, if you will, or maybe just you can. Obviously it's not really a cliff because you've got people down below it that aren't that far below, so just maybe a little precipice or a little hill. So he's standing his ground essentially. You've got a lot of stuff coming in on him here, a lot of other people exercising their will, and whether or not that anything is actually going to happen, we don't know from it. But here he's getting above it all, essentially, protecting himself with his staff, and he's taking a look at what's coming in on him. All of the perhaps you're in a group situation or something, and everybody's has got their own ideas and they're not listening to yours at all. Maybe they're not listening to anyone else's, or maybe they're all in alignment together. It could be either way. And you're not being heard, and so he needs to get above it to try to figure out why. That would be one example of that. And he wants to defend his own ideas. He wants to defend his own expression, but at the same time, he's not really sure if he has to defend against these folks or not. Maybe he does. And he's just getting above it all to stand his ground, to say, no, this is as far as I'm going with this. So there could be something in your life today where, and this is generally how I interpret the card, unless there's some other card here that really kind of shifts it in a different direction. I think that there's something going on in your life perhaps today where you feel like maybe your opinions or how you see things or your expression of your own will is not validated. It's not something where anyone's even listening, or if they are, they're challenging you continually about it, and you're having to stand your ground and defend your position. And the idea of the Seven, though, to get above it all and to observe and to be absolutely sure of what the messages are from others, or what the situation is dictated. Make sure you understand what that is. And then from there, you may just decide, you know what, this is not the way I want to go. I'm not comfortable. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where either with friends or maybe at a job where you're just not comfortable with what's happening. You may have a boss, if it's at work, that wants to cut corners and do things that really it's not going to keep the business going. And so you know you're going to be gone sooner than later anyway, because the business is going to fall apart. And before that happens, you decide, you know what, this is not right. Or maybe the climate at work or something is dysfunctional, and it really doesn't reflect your values maybe. And so you stand your ground and you just decide, you know what, I think I need to move on from here. I need to go find some place where I can be myself and I can express myself the way I want to, and where my ideas are going to be listened to, and it's not going to be this constant loggerhead or conflict situation. And so whereas you in fact, we could probably start with that. In fact, maybe we should. It just kind of feels like the order's not right here. You know, and unless you're using a particular type of tarot spread, like the Celtic cross or something like that, if it's just you're just doing a general reading for yourself, you can move the cards around to make sense. So I think that, because I was going to try to leave the Fool and the Ace of Pentacles on either side of the 7, but I don't think so. I think it's going to read better this way. So start again. So we'll start out with something is occurring and you got to stand your ground. And you're not going to compromise here. You're going to protect yourself, and you're going to try to understand the bigger picture, but at some point, you're going to have to exercise your will to make a decision about something. Decisions are normally swords, but with the Ace of Pentacles, there's a new path that's forming. And so you take the leap of faith with the Fool, all of the undeveloped potential, all of the experiences that you've had over time, either in this situation or also before. And you take what you know, you take what you learn, you gather your wits about you, and you take that leap into another type of an experience. You decide, that's the thing for me to do. My values, my principles are more important than whatever's going on here. And I'm ready to just move on into some other type of experience. And obviously it's something that's new. You're ready to take that leap of faith that it could be better than the first one, okay? And so there's an undeveloped potential about the choice to then move on into something else. But the something else you're moving on into could be quite lucrative, and could be something that could achieve some material security that in all likelihood was going to be lacking here. And so you take that leap, and there you are. You're on the outreaches the hand from the hidden hand of fate, or the hidden hand of spirit, with a very large coin in its hand. And here you have the same lilies that you have here in the hand of the Fool. So there's the element of purity of spirit there. And with that confidence of that the Fool, who has no expectations of an outcome, will have, there's the ultimate confidence there, right? Because it doesn't really matter what happens. You're willing to take that leap of faith into something new and exciting that, could challenge you all kinds of ways, but at the same time, you're ready for it. You want to see if it's going to be something better than this, right? And if it's not, then you'll do it all over again, and you'll be on a new path, and a path toward maybe new education, new material security, increased security for your family, or just for you if you don't have a family yet. If I'm assuming you're an adult at this point and you've not gotten a partner or a spouse or what have you, you don't have kids. It could be that as well. But you do that with the purity of motive. You do that being willing to, there'll be challenges on the other side as represented by those mountains there. But here you have the hedgerow and the arching, it's growing over the archway, or it's created its own archway, but likely somebody has done something to make that happen there. And it's just growing over it. And it's almost like you're going into a portal there, because you can see that the path narrows down just this little tiny piece right there. You can see that. So it's almost like a portal into new experiences that can bring either new educational experiences, so you get some kind of an increase there, but you have the loss of fear over moving forward, and that would be a missio here. Where you'd let go of the fear of moving forward into a new uncharted territory. Basically, you take that leap of faith, because anything's better than to continually have to stand your ground about something. and protect what you're trying to offer. It just doesn't seem like he's on the same page with other people in this card, in the Seven of Wands. And so if it feels like that to you today, then it may be something you've been feeling for some time. And at this point, you may be ready to take a leap into something new. Either a new way of dealing with these people or trying something new that way, and it could have make a difference. Or if this is a job, you may have already been thinking about finding another job, maybe. But if there's no way to fix what's going on there so that you're comfortable at the current one, if this is indeed job related, and with Pentacles, it could very well be. But maybe it's at home. Maybe you're renting a place, or you're living in a place where the neighbors are just awful, and you're tired of the harassment. You're tired of them trespassing. You're tired of whatever's going on, the interactions that you're having. And just living on your own doesn't seem to be working. They won't quit encroaching on you, right? So it could be, and there's a feeling of encroachment here. So it could be something like that, where you're ready to take that leap of faith that maybe you need to sell your home, or if you're renting, go ahead and give notice and look for something else. And because the Pentacles can also describe your home. And I don't know, I've been in that situation where you've got to think about that. It's like, if people are around you and they're partying all hours of the day and night, if you're in an apartment setting and you can't get any sleep and you got to go to work in the morning and all that, and people are doing all this stuff, and it's keeping you from that, it's hard, and eventually you just have to say, look, I just need to move somewhere else. So it could be something like that. If it's a group of people you're hanging out with, maybe you've come to the end of that for yourself. And it's time to take the leap of faith into finding something else, finding other people to hang out with, and spend your time with. So it could be that type of awareness, realization, again, with all yous, that would be higher awareness coming in and saying, look, this is not working out for me. And let's just, let's me and the ego get together here, and let's do something better for ourselves here. And so you take that leap of faith, you move on, and you move down into a portal into new experiences that could be a much better situation, either for you at home or maybe at work. So I think that's it. I think we did. I don't think we need another card. It doesn't really matter where you're going, does it? I mean, it just matters that you've made a decision. You've gotten above it all. You understand the situation now, and you're ready to take a leap of faith into something else. And again, it may still be remaining in that situation. You're just trying a different tactic to see if anything could be better. But if not, then maybe it's time to do something else. So it's just something to consider today. I'm not saying that this is something you have to do. It's just the cards are suggesting that this is the kind of stuff you might want to think about if this is what's happening in your life. Sometimes circumstances push us into movement. Okay, you get into an untenable circumstance, or one that takes your choices away from you, and now you have to do something. Maybe your landlord throws you out or something, says, I'm going to sell the house and I'm not going to do this rental stuff anymore. I've known people that have owned homes that rented them out, and they've done that. It's just a given, right? They may decide to sell the house, and then you don't have a place to live now because you're not going to buy it, right? Well, it could be something, like that, where circumstances push you into doing something else, where you have to take the leap of faith that it's going to all work out some way, somehow, no matter what it is. So just think about it that way. And if that's happening, instead of struggling against it, just observe it and see, is this going to be something that's sustainable for me or not? And then if it's not, then it may cause you then it may be the impetus for you to then think in a different direction. So anyhow, that's it. So everything came out on the blog over at Stepping Aside last night, the forecast for the week. And let's see, in fact, I've been thinking about doing shorts where I just do each day But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. But I might. But anyway, you can read the forecast over there. It's also posted over on Patreon, Medium, and Substack. And all of those locations, if you click on more below the video, it's all there. It starts out with the blog, the address for the blog. Then I tell what I'm doing here. And then down below all that, you can see the links to all that down there. But otherwise, you can just go to Stepping Aside and read the forecast, the astrological overview, the daily correspondences this week for work and magic, and the Exploring Tarot card in the Exploring Tarot series, so the tarot card I have for that. And I guess, is it the Nine of Swords? I think it's the Nine of Swords. I work ahead a week, so I'm not sure. I think it's not the Nine of Swords. I didn't pull that for this next week. I think it's the Nine of Swords. But anyway, I'm getting down to the end of it, and then I'll figure out something else to do for that fourth reading, or that fourth post I do every week. But maybe I'll do something herbal. But anyway, that's all up over there. It goes up in the midnight hour on Sunday mornings. And I guess that's it. If you haven't yet clicked subscribe, I'd love you to do that. And come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.